Welcome to episode 4 of Grim Scenarios, a Blood on the Clocktower strategy podcast. I am your host, Milk, along with your other host, because co-host doesn't seem quite right, Emma. Hello, Emma.
How's it going, Alex? Milk on this fine Wednesday morning?
It is a fine Wednesday morning, another one. We always do this on Wednesday morning. It's definitely Wednesday
Yeah,
right now.
this is, of course, being live on Twitch and somehow also earlier, an hour earlier on YouTube. We don't know how that works, but it does work that way.
It's magic. I'm pretty excited, Emma. I'm going to do some live storytelling this upcoming weekend.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm going to be at
You
Awesome
doing that
Con in
with?
Washington, D.C. with Capital Clock Tower.
Oh, that sounds fun. I don't get to play live Clock Tower, I don't think, until 2 more weeks when you can check me out. I'll be at Origins,
Yes, we
mostly
both
playing,
will.
I think. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I'm excited for you to get to do some live storytelling. I found Live Clock Tower to be a substantially superior game than the online version when I played it for the first time um, at Clocktower Con, and I am eagerly looking forward to my next opportunity, which is again at Origins in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I really enjoy playing live games. I think like the player counts, kind of people don't really worry about it as much as we do kind of
Mm-hmm.
online for keeping communication easy and fun. You see a lot more travelers. You see a lot more kind of interesting plays. You have such a bigger mix of skill levels and people who know more or less about the game. And I think it just makes things really fun. So really looking
Yeah.
forward to the next 2 weekends of just having a ton of fun with Clock Tower.
And especially on information heavy scripts like Sects and Violets, check that transition out.
Oh yeah.
In person Clock Tower allows them to be much more balanced because the ability to like mechanically solve them by everyone compiling all the information is much lower in person.
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
transitions us to we're still on Sex and Violence day two, week
Hmm.
two. Good scenario two, evil scenario two, Sex and Violence up today. I will be running Milk through a scenario as a good player. Then Milk will be giving me a chance to go against my nature and be evil.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Emma's gonna be evil, everybody, which she never is.
Exactly. I've always been good.
Always good,
I can just
confirmably.
manifest myself into being the lunatic when I get the demon token. It's pretty cool.
I have the last couple of times actually. I was like, this seems too good to be true. I'm probably the lunatic.
Anyway, so we are on day three of a Sex and Violence game. We're waking up on day three. You are seat seven, and you are the Dreamer.
The Dreamer. Oh, what a good role.
But you're not going to be telling anyone that today because last night on night three, you were made mad as the town crier.
Uh-oh, I'm the town crier now.
So one of the things I wanted to do with this scenario is obviously we're not going to have like the ability to like test these thoughts on real live players as we speak, but we'll just go through it anyway. Is I'm going to give you a goal for today, and your goal is going to be use the information you have, the information you can glean, filtered through the Serenovus madness, to try to accomplish that goal today. And this reason I thought this would be sort of interesting is because Serenovus madness is one of the more weird things about Clocktower, one of the more S&V things about Clocktower, in that it forces players to try to figure out ways to say their information without saying their information,
That's right. A
and
lot of
ways to
people don't
get
even
their
try,
goals
right?
accomplished.
A lot of
Yeah,
people don't even try. They just say, well, I'm Sarah Novus mad. I guess I can't give out information.
yeah. But you, you have been inspired today to go pit hag hunting. You want to kill a pit hag, or you want to determine there's no pit hag in play. So that is your goal for this scenario. Your goal is to identify the pit hag, or tell me there's no pit hag in play and nothing to worry about.
All right.
So, with that, let me run you through the nomination execution, and night deaths pattern, because as you're mad as the town crier, who nominated what days might be relevant to you.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty important to me because I'm going to need to be able to give out my information in a town criery way, which does mean I
Exactly.
probably need to take a few. Does mean I probably need to find my notepad and take a few notes here real quick.
So, day one, seat 5 was executed.
All right.
You have learned at some point during this game that seat 5 is claiming to be a clockmaker with a 3.
Interesting. Okay, a clockmaker with a 3 is good.
Night 1, or night 2 rather, the seat 11 was killed, and you've learned that the seat 11 is claiming mathematician who got a 1 on night 1.
Mathematician who got a 1.
Yeah. Uh, Day 2, you all executed seat 3.
All
We'll
right.
talk about what seat 3 is in a bit. You don't have their information, but you may try to get it today if you want to.
Got it.
And then last night, seat 8 was killed in the night.
Seat 8 was killed in the night last night.
Correct.
All right.
Now, let's talk about you. You have made 3 dreams so far this game. Night 1, you dreamed seat 9 as either the artist or the pit hag.
Got it.
You talked with them on day 1. They did not claim artist to you. They, in
Interesting.
fact, claimed town crier.
Claimed town crier. Interesting.
Night 2, you dreamed seat 3 as the seamstress or the vigor mortis.
Okay. Not the Vigor Mortis. Got it.
Not the vigor mortis, not the vigor mortis. Obviously, they're not the vigor mortis, but they are dead. And
Right.
they were dead in part because you dreamed them as the vigor mortis, for whatever that's worth.
So I revealed information yesterday.
You revealed it to someone, and it was part of the push on them
Got it.
to led to their execution. They were dreamed as a demon candidate. People thought, let's kill them.
All right. Sounds good.
Night 3, you dreamed seat 10 as the mutant or the pit hag.
Interesting.
You don't know what they were claiming before today. You haven't talked to them yet.
Right.
Nominations. On day 1, seats 1, 3, 5, and 9 nominated.
All right.
Day 2, seats 4, 6, 8, and 10 nominated. This town is doing very nice town crier splits. Everyone loves the town crier here.
How nice of them.
In terms of other claims, seat 6 was very cagey when you talked to them,
Okay.
and you did not get any sort of claim out of them. They just sort of did some nonsense with you for a bit, and when you left, you realized you knew nothing about what they were. Seat 4 has claimed to be the artist, who has not yet used their question or not shared it with you.
Okay.
And you have no claims from seat 11, seat 3, or seat 10.
Wasn't
Though,
11
of course.
the math?
Oh, sorry. No, I meant 12.
12.
12, 10, 3, 10, 3, or 8. Seat 1 told you they were the sage, but we're going to lie about that to everyone else.
Okay. Says they're the sage, lying to everyone else. Got it.
So, there's your knowledge of the Grim. Remember, your goal today is to identify if there's a living pit hag in play, and if so, tell me who it is. And to do that, we want to talk about how you're going to do that. Once you've decided who you think the pit hag is, or there's none in play, I want to talk through about how you're going to do that how you're going to share that with town through the lens of the town crier madness.
All right. The first thing I have to be concerned about is that this is a Vortox game. Because as a dreamer that has not confirmed any of my dreams, right? I have a artist pit hag dream that's claiming to be the town crier. I have a seamstress vigor mortis dream that I don't have a claim from, and I have a mutant pit hag claim, which I'm never going to be able to solve that dream. Like that's just an unsolvable dream until that player dies. So we can't really rely on that. So
Mhm.
important here is to figure out if my dreams mean anything at all, which probably involves going and talking to the player in seat 3. So that's something that's on the list of things that I need to do. The clockmaker being the day 1 execution is fine. Can be an evil player lying, but hard to know anything about that right now. The other thing I have to be a little worried about here, although it's not relevant to my first 2 days of dreams, is if there's a vigor killed minion sitting next to me. So just looking kind of at the setup more broadly, those are the things I as a player would probably be thinking about right now. I got a KG player next to me. That doesn't mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just means, stuff. And then the sage who's allegedly lying to everyone else is kind of interesting.
That's right. So, with speaking through all that, who do you want to talk to today? You can talk to anyone you want to on the grim.
I really have to talk to seat 3 because I really have to figure out if this is a Vortox game or not.
Okay. You talk to seat 3. Seat 3 is happy to tell you that they are the seamstress with a yes between seats 9 and 11, and they did not mind dying.
Yes, between seats 9 and 11. So this is a SS. Yes. And this is an SS. Yes. All right. There's worlds where that can still be that, like, there's worlds where that can be a player who's lying, but probably not that they didn't mind dying, that they were day 2 executed. So that I'm just going to believe that that's a seamstress. My information points me in that direction, so I'm going to believe it's not a Vortox game because I have information that has worked correctly. That redirects me to some suspicion about seat 9. I will probably reveal to seat 3 that I'm the dreamer and that I dreamed them. And
Oh, you're good.
oh
Oh,
no, I
you're
can't.
gonna
Right, I'm
reveal.
sorry. I'm sorry,
You gotta
Matt.
reveal that you're the dreamer.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you
yeah,
dreamed
yeah.
it.
I can't.
We
I
want
can't
to
tell them that.
execute you on the day before
Yeah,
the
yeah.
scenario.
I'll claim Town Crier. Yeah, I'll claim Town Crier to them, of course. Yeah, I'll claim Town Crier and say that I'll claim Town Crier and basically just say that I'm not sure about my info yet. I'm still working through it. Yeah, I
Okay.
forgot about the scenario, Emma. This is very complicated. Lots of stuff on my
No,
screen. Um,
no worries.
all right. So let's see. So okay, so we've got that. So that helps us a little bit by clearing up some worlds that would result in just the dreamer info being completely wrong. That makes me a little more suspicious of seat 9, but a seamstress yes with a knight 2 death.
I
Okay.
think the other plays you didn't have claims from were seat 10 and seat 12. Do you want to talk to either of them?
There's no point in talking to seat 10 if they're the mutant or the pit hag. They're not going to give me useful information. I don't think I have info from seat 2 either.
Oh yeah, you don't have info from seat 2 either. That's true.
Let's go check in with seat 2 and see what they have to say.
Uh, seat 2 claims to be the juggler, but refuses to share any information with you.
Juggler claim refuses to share info. Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah, I'll tell them I'm Town Crier.
Okay. They say they didn't juggle you. They didn't juggle you as that, so they don't know whether that's true or not.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not going to share info, then they're not going to be helpful. I kind of
Yeah.
need to talk to seat 4 and find out about this artist info as well.
Mm-hmm.
Seat 1's not very useful to talk to. Seat 10's not very useful to talk. Let's get seat 4. Let's get with seat 4 and see if there's some information there that I can glean.
Seat 4 tells you they are in fact the artist, but have not used their question. They're planning to use it later in the day, and they'll probably reveal it at nominations. At the nominations phase.
All right. Well, if there's still time, I'll talk to seat 12 and see if I can get some info there.
Sure. You talk to seat 12. Seat 12 tells you that they're the Oracle. They got a 0 and then a 1.
That's making me interesting. That's making me wonder if this is a Vigor Mortis game.
Hmm. Interesting.
Where seat 2, the mathematician with a knight 1/1 who just died on knight 2, could be a Vigor killed minion. And that points at seat 9 as also being potentially evil. Doesn't really match the clock numbers, so the clock numbers would point at someone like seat 6 who's being cagey as the demon, or seat 2 as the juggler who doesn't want to share their information as being the demon. But that's not what I'm here to solve, Emma. I'm here to
You're
find
not.
a pit hag. Um,
Yes,
I'm
your goal is to find a pit hag.
I'm gonna ask Seat 12 if they've heard anything about any pit haggings. If they've heard of anyone being pit hag changed.
Uh, they say they have not heard about any pit hag changes yet this game.
Interesting. Hmm. Let's go have a chat with my neighbor, Seat 8.
Sure.
Seat 8 is dead, and I'm interested in finding out if they'll trade a hard claim for a hard claim.
Yeah, sure. They tell you they're the flower girl.
Hmm.
They got a yes the one night they were alive, which is when all the players on the odd numbered seats voted, but not the even seats. Again, a perfect flower girl split for them.
So
Um,
odd-numbered seats voted. Flower girl, yes.
yeah. And they also tell you they're very confident of the Clock 3 world, given the Philosopher also has the Clock 3.
The Philo also has the clock 3. Interesting. Wonder where the
And
Philo is.
in their understanding, the Philo and the Clockmaker did not talk day one, so they're very confident of this clock number.
So the clock 3 is very real. Well, we don't know where the Philo. We don't know where the Philo lives. It might be that sage up there at the top. Could be this KG player in seat 6, but I don't see a Philo anywhere. So interesting. Hmm. All right. Um, well, I guess we can ask seat 6 if we still have time to talk to players. We can ask seat 6 if they're the Philo.
Okay, you talk to seat 6.
Yeah.
Seat 6 says, no, I'm not the Philo. I'm the Savant. I think I'm not sharing any information. Seat 10 is the Philo. I thought everyone knew that.
Well, yeah. I didn't know that seat 10 was the Philo.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah. I guess I should go talk to seat 10 now, finally, since I've been ignoring them because they're probably just the mutant.
okay. Seat 10 tells you they're the Philo. They won Clockmaker Night 2. They later learned that there was a real Clockmaker in play, and that they had the exact same information, which they say they can independently verify.
So they can definitely independently verify the information of the clockmaker.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That means the clockmaker's information is definitely right from this player.
Yeah, so C10 says, I am the philosopher. The Philo clock with a 3.
So, I mean, looking at the Grim that we've assembled here just by talking to people, it's possible that there's an outsider who's hiding here. I've seen an outsider in a dream, which I believe to have been correct. I guess the seamstress in seat 3 who was executed would have to be evil, but they seem like they're probably good for
Oh, there's an
reasons.
Oracle 1 on them, right?
There's an Oracle 1 on them. There's an Oracle 1 on them and the mathematician, right? If the seamstress is the evil one, then it's
Them and the
probably.
Flower Girl.
Oh, sorry, I might have gotten the. No, right? The
Yeah,
seamstress was executed day 2.
yeah, so
It would be
Mathematician was
this.
the Night 2 kill,
Oh, I
along
see.
with the Clockmaker
Right.
the day
So
1 execution.
it would have been so seamstress and flower girl are the are the
Mm-hmm.
are the potential evil pair in the oracle number. Oh, okay. I thought it was the mathematician. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that interesting. Yeah, I mean there's a very substantial lack of outsiders. Now, S and V outsiders do like to hide, right? The sweetheart doesn't really want to come out as the sweetheart. The mutant obviously can't claim to be the mutant. People play Barber and Klutz in different ways. Some people play Barber and Klutz more openly in a way where they can reveal it to town, get killed early. Klutzes often want to get killed early while there's still a higher probability of picking a good player. If they've got a good read on someone, they might want to get killed early. Barbers sometimes they want to out early before they mess up town's information by swapping a demon late. So this is pretty interesting that we've got very few outsider claims, and it looks a little Viggy. Could be Fangu, could be Fangu paranoia though, so we can't really judge anything by that. All right, well we've got information from all of these players.
Yeah.
The Oracle info is pretty interesting, and probably worrisome as a dreamer, right? To have an Oracle who's pointing at someone next to me as potentially a Vigor killed minion. That's pretty problematic. Currently, sort of. I mean, it doesn't really make sense for an evil player to put an SSES between a dead good. I mean, I don't know. The seamstress thing is interesting because the seamstress thing just makes Seat 9 look like they're a dead good player. But both Seat 9 and Seat 3 are 3 steps away from the Oracle, which is verifying that clockmaker number, suggesting the Oracle could be evil. Yeah, there's a whole lot here. This is pretty difficult to solve at this point. We probably need a little more. We probably need a little more info, or we probably need to see what happens at Noms.
So, are you considering Vortox at all at this point?
It is possible that it's a Vortox game if the Seamstress is evil. The Seamstress is my only possible Dreamer verification. As a player, I don't know if I'm going to make it another day. I have a pretty strong roll. My info has been shared out there somewhere, so I don't know exactly who it is that I shared it with that I trust. But a piece of this is I would probably want to try to just get one piece of information that I can confirm. At this point, I really can't confirm not Vortox if the Seamstress is in the Oracle info. That Oracle info feels interesting.
But if, of course, if the Oracle has a 1, the Seamstress can't be evil in a Vortox game, right?
Exactly. But the Oracle had a 0 the first night, which means that we killed an evil between the Clockmaker and the Mathematician.
Mathematician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a bit weird.
Yeah. So you can feel pretty confident it's not Vortox, right?
Pretty sure it's not Vortox. Yeah, there's too many bits of information here that seem some of the information has to be good here. Yeah. I would
Okay.
probably as a dreamer want to get like one clean dream that I can go talk to somebody about. But at this point I have full claims from everybody, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So at this point, we're about 20-ish minutes into the episode. So we're going to switch to phase 2 of this scenario, which is you tell me who you think the pit hag is, and then we talk about how you try to get them killed through the lens of madness.
Yeah. So it assuming it's not a Vortox world, assuming my information is good, um, it looks like seat 9 is potentially the pit hag, and the storyteller either didn't get a bluff for them or didn't know their bluff when I dreamed them. They were the first night dream.
Mm-hmm.
Often storytellers have to kind of make a guess on what potentially a player could be bluffing as for an evil player if they get dreamed on night 1. Sometimes that doesn't work out. There's a double claim of artist with the player in seat 4, which suggests again that probably the minion didn't get a bluff, or well, actually, that would make the player in seat 4 potentially evil as well, because that might be a bluff, and the storyteller got the bluffs wrong between the evil players. So
Mm.
that's a possibility as well. Um, that would make me think that seat 9 is probably the pit hag, seat 4 is the Serenovus, and seat 12 or seat 1 is probably the demon. But that's later Alex's problem. It's later Milk's problem. I'm gonna because I haven't got any other outsider claims. Seat 10 looks like possibly a mutant, is what I would say. Seat 10 looks like a mutant who has, you know, taken some information and um, gone to try to use that to like make a bluff that they can ride for a while.
Well, multiple players have told you that C10 and C5 did not talk before C10 told them about the clock 3.
Could get lucky. It's possible. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
If I think that seat 9.
Oh,
Seat 9. Oh, wait, hold on. Seat 9 could have been Serenovus mad. Aha, here we go. So if the Serenovus is making people mad as the town crier, Seat 9 could have been mad as the town crier. I should have talked to Seat 9 again. There you go.
didn't
Yeah, I didn't. So I should have talked to Seat 9 again to see if Seat 9 was made Serenovus mad earlier in the game. I can't do that now, and I can't ask in town square because that's going to get really close to breaking Serenovus madness. So I have to be really careful about anything I say publicly here. So if seat 9 is in a seamstress, yes, the seamstress, that makes the seamstress good. The seamstress information is good. My information is good, so I can confirm the seamstress, yes. Between 11 and 9, that makes 9 probably the artist and probably good, and that means that they were made Serenovus mad as the town crier, which means there's a mutant missing somewhere, but the mutant could be in seat 6 or seat 2 or seat 4, any of those people claiming to have abilities that they don't want to share information on, or having abilities that they haven't used yet, or whatever. Could be an outsider.
I'll give you one more piece of information that comes out of the nom phase, which is that seat 6 claims to have been made mad as the mutant yesterday.
Seat 6 was claims to have been made mad as the mutant yesterday.
And were not executed.
Interesting. Day 2, mad as mutant.
So we do need to know who you think is their pit hag and how you're doing, because I do want to talk about how you try to get people to kill a pit hag when you can't say your information on them.
Yeah, I mean, so numbers got to. All right, just putting the information together. The flower girl yes on odd numbers suggests that the closest minion to the demon can't be on an odd number with a clockmaker 3. In that case, I should rule out minions on odd numbers for the moment, which brings me to minions on even numbers, which looks more like seat 10 and seat 4, which makes seat 1 the demon, but that's a later's problem. Could also be seat 12 the oracle, doesn't matter. Um, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say that I trust the seamstress info. That I don't think I've been Vigor poisoned. I don't think it's Vortox. I think I'm gonna push on seat 10 based on my dream. I think seat 10 is the pit hag. If there's a pit hag, seat 10 is the pit hag. It's possible. I don't think it's a Vortox game. I don't think it's possible that there's no pit hag. I've seen a pit hag. There's probably one.
Okay, so you've decided that seat 10 is the pit hag. Um, Now let's talk a little bit about how you're going to push on them through your Serenovus madness, because that's the other thing I really wanted to talk about in this was
Yeah.
how do you get people to do what you want when you can't say why you want them to do it?
So all I can say is that I'm the town crier, right? Like that's a bit of information that I can give out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I can use that with these wonderful splits of nominations that the teams have given me to say that I got a town crier no on day 1 on players 1, 3, 5, and 9, and to say I got a town. I'm sorry, and to say I got a town crier yes on day 2 when 4, 6, 8, and 10 nominated. Now, I think probably 4 or 10 are both reasonable minion candidates right now. 8's dead, so that eliminates 8 from that pool, which is very helpful, so we don't have to worry about that. And seat 6, seat 6 is KG, so who knows? So I'm not super worried about pushing on a potential good player here. Obviously, I might be completely wrong, but that's fine. We could have those days. But more importantly, the Flower Girl yes is on odd numbered seats. And if the clockmaker information is right, it's weirdly being validated by seat 10. But I don't think seat 10 and seat 5 are evil together. And the reason for that is that seat 5 was executed, and I was made Serenovus mad last night, which means that there has to be a living Serenovus or a vigored Serenovus. Seat 5 can't be the Serenovus. So that means that the information might be good, and seat 10 might just know the information, right? Literally might just know the information, but is trying to point at someone else. With that in mind, I think the Flower Girl odd numbered information suggests that seat 10 is a mutant based on the my Town Crier information, my very powerful Town Crier information. We could go for a demon, but there's a few options that are still around for that. So yeah, I'm gonna say that I got a town crier no on day one and a town crier yes on day two, and nominate seat 10, and basically say that I think that they are a minion.
And do you have any thought about being like pretending you've talked to a dreamer who's dreamt them?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to get near that right now. I could potentially say that, but that is getting really tricky with the storyteller. It depends on your storyteller. If this is if you're a fairly new player, you might be able to get away with sneaking that in. But generally, in the games that I play in and the games that you play in, Emma, I think you and I as storytellers, especially, would be pretty harsh on a Serenovus mad dreamer who's mad as a town crier who says, "Oh yeah, I heard some dreamer information out there that says this person is the pit hag."
So you push on seat 10. We'll say that your push is successful. Seat 10 gets executed on charges of pit haggery. You go to sleep, and that night, Milk, you are pit hagged into the sweetheart.
Missed it.
You missed it. So
Oh
let's
well.
go through. But despite missing on the pit hag, you got a lot of this solved. Like if you weren't specifically trying to kill the pit hag, you may well have killed the demon.
Yeah, probably. Pretty sure I got that one. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
So yeah, we'll just go through the group a little bit. You of course are now the sweetheart.
Yeah. Fair.
Seat 6 was being cagey because they were an outsider,
Outside
scared
of
of
class.
Fangu nonsense. So they were the klutz. That was similarly why Seat 2, your juggler who wouldn't give their information, was being weird. They were also an outsider. They were the barber. You successfully clocked Seat 4 as a minion. They were the Serenovus torturing people. Seat 5 was a clockmaker. Seat 8 was a flower girl. Seat 12 was an oracle. Seat 3 was in fact your seamstress, who got a yes on seat 11, the mathematician, and seat 9. But that's because you had correctly identified seat 1 as a likely demon candidate, and they were. They were a Nodashi, poisoning seat. They were poisoning seat 3 and seat 12, causing information to be wonky there. Seat 10 started the game as your philosopher. The philo clock thing was totally legit. They were pit hacked into the mutant. But that left seat 9, who you in fact had just caught as the minion who had not yet picked their bluff.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely seat 9 or 10, and I talked myself out of it. Well, that
You
happens
talked yourself
sometimes.
out of it. It happens. It happens.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I said, you were narrowing down on seat 1 as the as a likely demon candidate based on the information you
Yeah,
knew.
I mean, we were
So
running out of
like
space. Yeah, they were
in
running
a
out of
real
space.
world, you may as well just have pushed on seat 1 and got the seat 1 killed there.
I, I, I might have actually pushed on seat 4, who I was 100% sure was a minion. But at that point, if seat 4 is a minion, the spaces for other minions to be where there's a Clockmaker 3 pretty much just makes seat 1 the demon. So,
Yeah.
yeah, missed on the pit hag, but
Yeah, no, but you solved a lot of this game.
yeah,
Like,
it's pretty good.
and this was really it was I wanted to emphasize like sort of how much different worlds you need to consider as a good player on Sects and Violets. We were talking Vigor worlds, we were talking Fangu worlds, we were talking Vortox worlds. We didn't even bring up the Nodashi, and the Nodashi was the demon who was causing the misinformation of this game.
Yeah, and I probably could have caught that and solved the barber in seat 2. If I had been a little more diligent about looking at the person I thought was the demon, I was busy looking for the pit hag. But I do think there's some really interesting bits and pieces here, right? That you can, even if you don't get the exact info right, you can definitely find a lot as you solve. We kill good players accidentally as evils all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
in a mid-game scenario where there's still, 6 or 7 people left alive, 7 or 8 people left alive, killing a mutant, I mean, we probably can kill the pit hag or the demon the next day, right? Like, so it's not
Exactly.
it's not such a bad loss here of killing a good player. Yeah, I've lost my dreamer ability. Don't really even need it anymore. It's not really doing
Dramatically,
anything
we
for me.
made you into the sweetheart. Realistically, the Pitak would have made the demon into a Fangu that night, and if they wanted to make you a demon candidate, they would have made you the sweetheart the next night.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously you make a Fangu there, you get your either 2 kills or no kills because you can afford it here, and then the Fangus, you just gotta hope the Fangu hits because that Nodashi is in for a world of hurt right now.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think we kill. I mean, to be fair, even if the Nodashi jumps, I think we kill minions the next 2 nights, almost certainly.
yeah.
With the pit hags now cornered, I don't think the Pit Hag gets a chance to make me into an outsider and the Nodashi into the Fangu.
Exactly, which is why, and realistically, the Pit Hag probably would have done that, but that wouldn't have been as
Wouldn't have been as
funny a
funny.
reveal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think we kill the Pit Hag, then the Cernovus, and then we just have to figure out which of the two remaining players is the Fangu jump.
Yeah.
So pretty fun.
All right.
Well, we should take a little intermission here. I don't exactly know how that works now. So we should take a moment here at this point to say that our friend Kim has come on and joined the team as our editor. Thank you so much, Kim. We really appreciate you and the help that you're going to give us with running the podcast and getting it edited and making it look and sound really great. So we're not really sure what we're supposed to do. So we're gonna probably take a short break and then we'll we'll be back, I
Yeah,
guess.
normally this is when we put up the intermission screen and then make jokes about how we don't know whether we're hearable through the intermission screen. But
Just do that,
this
Kim.
may all just be cut now.
Just do that. All right, welcome back, everybody. We've taken our little break, and now we're gonna see what Emma can do with an incredibly powerful, but sometimes a little bit controversial evil role. Emma, you're the Vigor Mortis in Seat 1.
I thought I was going to be the evil twin there.
No, no, we're not going to do Evil Twin. We had a little fun with Evil Twin last time. We're going to do the Vigor Mortis. Now, a lot of people ask about the Vigor Mortis because of its -1 outsider effect. And I think when people start to play Sects and Violets, they think that that might make the Vigor Mortis quite weak. In addition, the Vigor Mortis has to pay a substantial cost to use its ability, which reads, each night, choose a player, they die. Minions you kill keep their ability and poison one townsfolk neighbor. On Sects and Violets, where we have such powerful minions like the Cernovus, the Witch, and the Pit Hag, it can often be exceptionally useful to keep one of those abilities in play, especially if a minion gets suspicion on them, basically. And even if they're killed, of course, doesn't matter if they out evil some of the time. But occasionally it can be risky. And so, Emma, I'm going to give you some information that will be hopefully useful to you, and then we'll see where we end up. So I'm going to tell you that your minions are the Cernovus in seat 7
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
Witch in seat 9.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On day 1, your Cernovus made the player in seat 8 mad as the mutant.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone returned to town after their conversations on day 1, the storyteller announced that the player in seat 8 was executed immediately, and everyone went to sleep. The
Mm-hmm.
player in seat 8 has claimed to be the mutant, and says that
Mm-hmm.
they were forced to break madness because they were made Ceramad as the mutant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, on day 2, you spoke with the player in seat 6, who said to you, and I quote myself, yeah, I'm just the Oracle. I don't think it's a very powerful or useful role. So I'm probably just going to tell people that I'm the Oracle. And I got a 0 last night.
Okay.
You also speak to the player in seat 10. The player in seat 10 hard claims Sage to you, and seems, as you put it in the last game, a bit cagey.
Okay.
When you return to town today, the player in seat 5 reveals that they are a seamstress with a no between seat 9, your witch, and the player in seat 2.
Okay.
The player in seat 4 nominates the player in seat 2 and dies to a witch curse. The town executes the player in seat 2 as an obvious evil. or at least an evil in a seamstress ping.
And I assume seat 11 was my night 1 kill.
And seat 11 was your night 1 kill. Yes,
Or night
correct.
2 kill, rather.
Your
Okay.
night 2 kill. Yep, that's
So
correct.
we are on night 3 here.
So we are on night 3. After the player in seat 4 dies to the witch curse, they say, to heck with it. I'm the clockmaker. I've got a 4.
Okay.
So the player in seat 2 is executed, and it goes to night. And here you are at night, Emma, the demon, with a bluff set that reads Savant, Klutz, and Sage.
Savant, Klutz, and Sage. Interesting. So C10 is just a lie and liar likes to lie.
That's correct. What I want to ask you to do, Emma, is I want to ask you to talk through all of the situations that are possible for a Vigor Mortis here, and why you would make a choice to kill or not kill each of your minions, or to kill a townsfolk instead of a minion in this situation. And I'd like you to make the right decision of who to kill in this particular scenario.
So yeah. So before I learned about the clockmaker with the 4, my plan had actually been at that point to kill C9 the witch. And the reason for that is I wanted to poison that oracle information. But I didn't want to do it with the obvious person right next to you, because if I'm an oracle whose neighbor dies and then I get weird information, it feels like a vigor killed minion just was killed next to me. So my initial reaction was to kill the witch, poison the oracle, hopefully poison the oracle in seat 6 if they are in fact the oracle, and then go from there. But I'm now sort of reluctant to do that because of the Clockmaker 4.
Why is that?
The Clockmaker 4 is very scary. The Clockmaker 4 points directly from the witch to me or the seamstress. And if the seamstress is the demon who said, "Oh yeah, I have a no on my minion and there's a clock 4," that's pretty brutal. That's very brutal. That's like I just look very much like a demon if you assume it's a clockmaker 4 from C9. So I need to be very careful here
Why do you think Town would assume that seat 9 is a Vigor killed minion in this situation?
because they're automatically suspicious because of the seamstress ping.
Right. And a demon wouldn't normally kill a suspicious person.
Right. So my other option again is if we believe seat 6 that they're the oracle, we can risk killing seat 7. Now that poisons the oracle, but hopefully it won't look so bad because it would look like we'd hope that the oracle would get a 1 there, not a 2, a true 1 despite being poisoned, and that would allow us then to build in the vigor poison, continuing to hide the Serenova switching, well, making seat 2 look evil and making it look less like a vigor killed minion in seat 7. There's one player, of course, who will know that they're not evil, and that's seat 2, but we're already in sort of the boat where we're going to have to frame seat 2 as evil most of this game because of the power of a clockmaker.
That's right. I agree with that.
And just a little bit on the clockmaker. The clockmaker is, in my view, the most powerful and the most scary townsfolk, not just on Sects Violets, but in Blood on the Clocktower. Like, there is no one I'd less like to kill with a witch than a clockmaker.
Yeah, the witch really bungled that one.
Because the clockmaker is now essentially completely socially confirmed. They were killed by the witch. There's essentially no reason this early in an S&V game for an evil player to be witch cursed. There's reasons later for an evil player to be potentially witch cursed, but this early, it's just not worth it 9 times out of 10. So we've essentially socially and confirmed the clockmaker and their number, which means we're dealing. And the other issue with a clockmaker is the bigger a clockmaker number is, the scarier it is for the evil team. Whereas with a chef from Set Trouble Brewing, You sort of want to be sat far apart because that makes the chef zeros harder to solve. With a clockmaker, you want to be bunched tightly together because the clocks 1 and clock 2s are harder to place than clocks 4s and clocks 5s. Like, if you look at C2 and assume they're a minion, my demon frames are seat 10 from them, seat 5 from them. Anyone closer than that to seat 2 is strictly eliminated from being a demon. Or seat 6, right?
It's
Seat
yeah,
10 and seat
6 to
6.
10. It's the triangles.
Yeah, seat 6 and seat 10, which means seat 5 can't be a demon, seat 3 can't be a demon, seat 12 can't be a demon. None of these people are people I can frame as a demon with seat 2 as evil. That's a lot of living players who I can't frame as a demon anymore. And the and I can't frame seat 9 as a demon because seat 9 is in the seamstress node with them. That means the only demon candidates are seat 6, seat 7, and seat 10. Which, again, makes killing the Serenovus tricky because that's killing one of the demon candidates for seat 2. Um, it's possible, though, that I can sell seat 7 as a Fang jump. But that requires the Oracle to get a 2, not a 1, which is very bold from the storyteller. But it's something I would legitimately be trying to do if I was a Fangu in seat 7, and my minion in seat 2 just got killed, and I learned about a Clockmaker 4. That requires me to frame the minions as exactly seat 2 and seat 3, though, with seat 7 as the jump to Fangu. And I just want to emphasize, like, these are the worlds I'm living in as someone who is a socially confirmed Clockmaker 4. Like, there's very narrow evil teams I can build, which makes it very hard to kill people in ways that support those evil teams.
Let's talk for a second about the positioning of the minions, not just with regard to the clockmaker, because obviously we already discussed that, but with regard to where their poisonings can go. There's not a whole huge difference between the two of them, or which one you pick in terms of if you were going to kill a minion to try to poison someone. Um, there's not a whole lot of difference between who's available to be poisoned here.
No, it's only seat 10 and seat 6 is going to be poisoned. Seat 8 is mechanically confirmed as the mutant.
And in that case, does that alter your desire in some way to use the Vigor's minion killing power?
It's tough. It doesn't really factor in. Um, you want to use the minion killing power when there's someone worth poisoning. Um, and seat 6 is both a demon frame and poisonable. So will start getting bad information, which will make them look evil. So there's a lot of value in poisoning seat 6 at the cost of a minion's life.
Probably not seat 9. It would probably have to be seat 7 though.
Yeah, like I said, probably not seat 9. But again, there's reasons that killing seat 7 looks so bad too, in that they're a demon candidate if seat 2 is a minion.
What about your bluffs? Been very nice to you, I think, in terms of Vigor Mortis usable bluffs. But if you choose not to kill a minion, the bluffs become a bit less useful.
Yeah.
Savant, Klutz, and Sage here. Just pop those out for everybody.
In all likelihood, me as a player, I'm running with the Klutz buff. One, it feels minion-y at best. Two, not to give away all my secrets, but
That's what they're here for, Emma. They want our secrets. They want to know how we Clocktower so well.
Well, one thing that gets evil players in trouble is when they get into conflicts with good players. Because when you start saying your information requires player B to be evil, it creates a situation where player B goes, wait a minute, I know what token I have. I'm not evil. Like, uh, to the extent possible, as the demon, you don't want to be the one responsible for framing a specific good player with your information. You can frame them with your kills, because your goal is to get down to a situation where there's a good player or a minion who's executable on the final 3. But you want the minions to be the ones handling the information framing. because if they become outed evil through informational conflicts with good players, they're just minions. It's not the end of the world. So for me, the bluff here that jumps to me is Klutz. Klutz is a nice bluff that hides that it's a Vigor Mortis game. It's socially something I would do on Sects and Violets is just claim to be the Klutz and not worry about the Fengu, dare the Fengu to jump. We talked about it a little bit last week. I am a player who, because I dislike being Fengu jumped, I dislike changing teams midway through games. I will happy to give the good team the information about where outsiders are and dare the evil team. Hey, are you really going to do this? Are you really going to jump to the outsider everyone knows about? So socially, I can get away with bluffing outsider on SNV. Um, I say that with confidence.
The Vig -1 helps there, right? People I think are a little harsh with the Vig -1, as I mentioned earlier, thinking that, oh wow, losing an outsider and gaining a whole townsfolk, like that's pretty strong for the good team where S&V has such information that's so powerful. Just imagine that Vigor -1 and replaced a Klutz with a Dreamer. That's a lot of vulnerability that's been created for the evil team. We should talk about how that -1 can be useful for evil, and in one of the ways it can be useful is certainly providing an extra bluff or providing certainty that you can bluff an outsider.
Exactly. And the thing is, because there's always risk if that storyteller doesn't give you the outsider bluff with the Vig, in that it's going to become a very obvious Vig game because there's not going to be enough outsiders in play, and it's too risky for you guys to bluff, to double claim the bluff, the actual in play outsider. Um, that's always a risk, but with the outsider bluff in play, it really helps you hide the Vigor Mortis. And like I said, I'm going to be bluffing Klutz with these bluffs. With these bluffs, I'm going to want my two minions selling misinformation with the Sage and the Savant. And I'm going to want to be using the Klutz bluff as trying to say, hey, I'm confirmed by the outsider count. Like, if we start thinking it's a Fengu game, I might get killed, which isn't, again, a tricky situation for me. So what I think I want to do is I want to sell Nodashi or Vortox. And I don't have enough information to confidently sell Vortox. So I'm looking to sell the possibility of a Nodashi world. And Nodashi worlds open up two extra demon candidates for me, Seed 5 and Seed 3, because they can be poisoning the Clockmaker.
Correct.
And they even open up Seed 12 as a demon candidate because I'm an outsider. Seed 2 is a minion. Seed 3 could be a minion or an outsider, or it could be a minion. The Nodashi tentacles could be branching all the way from Seed 12 to Seed 4.
It's a hard sell, but it's a possibility.
Right. It's just, you want to open up demon candidates. So, looking at this Grim right now, the thing that opens up the most demon candidates and exposes me the least is we're trying to sell a Nodashi world. Because in a Nodashi world, if the Clockmaker's sober, great. Seed 6, Seed 7, Seed 9, Seed 10 are all demon candidates. But if the Nodashi is in Seed 12, Seed 3, or Seed 5, they can all be demon candidates. So with a Nodashi, in Nodashi worlds, we are really doing a good job of opening up extra demon candidates. So we've decided what demon we want our team to be bluffing. We want our team to be setting up Nodashi worlds.
I wanted to ask you about whether it's worth it to kill a minion at this point to get the poisoning and keep an ability in play, or whether you might be
Absolutely.
better off, or whether you might be, or whether there are worlds where you would consider just killing a pretty confirmed good player.
Uh no. Like there's no good player whose information I want to confirm at this point by killing them in the night. There's no one who's confirmed. S&P doesn't have this sort of hard confirmation outside Dreamer. And even Dreamer's weird. Like, Dreamer's only really hard confirmation day one first conversation. And even then, it can be a lucky demon.
So, with all of this in mind, Emma, your tempo, night phase, who would you like to kill?
So now that we've decided that we want to do the Nodashi thing and not the Fangu thing, and hopefully our storyteller will pick up on that's what we want. We want this Oracle claim poisoned. We want the Oracle claim poisoned. We want seat 2 looking like a minion. And again, there's two ways to go here. You see evil teams sometimes when everyone thinks X is a minion, they'll kill the other half of the ping just to try to treat it because it's confirmed. So if it was really clear people were reading to seat 2 socially evil yesterday, even though they're good, I might just kill seat 9 and hope the poison passes through to seat 6.
They killed seat 2, so
Yeah, but it depends on, but like it's a specific thing that depends on how much I'm reading into town. That
informationally, it's pretty risky for you to kill seat 9, right?
yes, socially it might be the right call. So it really
Especially
depends
if you're
on
going to claim outsider, you're going to look a lot like a Vigor Mortis at that point.
perhaps. But yeah, socially, if everyone really thinks seat 2 is evil, seat 9 is a reasonable kill. If people don't think seat 2 is evil, if they're like 50-50, if they're planning to kill seat 9 tomorrow to close the ping, we're killing seat 7.
Yeah, that's probably the situation that seems more likely to me here.
Okay.
They probably want to close the ping.
If they want to close the ping, we're killing seat 7.
All right. So we go ahead and kill seat 7, who is now Vigor killed.
Yeah. And I'll talk a little bit about Vigor killing here. There's a joke about SNV and BMR that I originally I think heard from Gambling, friend of ECG Gambling, where BMR is a collection
Oh,
of
gambling, yes. He has an excellent voice.
BMR is a collection of really wonky, bad, almost bad characters that fit together very well, and Sects Violets is a collection of really powerful, interesting characters that fit together pretty wonkily. And the Vigor Mortis is definitely one of the wonkier parts of SNV. And part of the issue is there's value to preserving any of these minions' abilities, but they're not like the sort of abilities you'd really want to be preserving as a Vig. You'd like if I think of all of the minions in Blood on the Clocktower, the ones that I am most excited about to kill as a Vigor Mortis are a Poisoner, a Widow, an Assassin. Though a script writer who puts Assassin on the Vigor Mortis script is being really mean to the good team. Um,
Yeah.
it's these things that can have dramatic effects on the late game situation, even as a dead evil. Um,
Yeah, locking in a widow poison and then getting a second poisoning out of a widow is incredibly strong. Allowing a poisoner to just have free reign for an entire game.
allowing a dead on mare scripts, and like I've seen Vig poisoner mare scripts where like their Vig hasn't killed their poisoner, and I'm like, what are you doing? Please
Yeah,
kill your poisoner.
instant
You
kill.
just cruise to victory on the mare win because the poisoner poisons the mare on final 3.
Yep. Nobody knows.
But the S&V minions don't have this sort of dramatic late game effect generally. The witch can do a little. The Serenovus as the game goes on, the Serenovus power gets weaker. So I'm not like super thrilled about locking in the Serenovus power, but it's better to have it locked in and poisoning the Oracle, getting the 1 on seat 2.
And you can always just tell your Serenovus, hey, we don't want them to think there's a living Serenovus, so make sure to either lock somebody or poison or, hit yourself or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, there's things to do with it, but yeah, that's what we're doing. We're killing the Serenovus. We're poisoning hopefully what's the Oracle in seat 6.
Well, Emma, the storyteller makes a different choice for you than poisoning the Oracle in seat 6, but the Oracle in seat 6 does come out the next day to you with their Oracle 1 and is concerned that the player in seat 2 might be evil and might be a minion. Um, the player in seat 10 then approaches you and says, hey, I'm the Dreamer, and I dreamed you as either the Klutz or the Pit Hag.
Okay.
And that was, I think, a pretty good breakdown of how the Vigor works and how to use the Vigor Mortis in a situation like this and how to think through all the options. Seems like the Clockmaker number's not going to point at you. You seem like you're going to be a pretty confirmed player now, and you can continue to wreak havoc on this town. So we'll just go through the Grim really quickly. Seat 12 was a mathematician who really was not sure what they were really doing in this game. Obviously didn't have a ton of useful information. You, of course, are the Vigor Mortis. Seat 2 was the Town Crier. Oh, I've got to... Let me put this in. I'll send it all out to you.
We really would have loved that mathematician to be dead before we started Vigor poisoning people.
Yep, but that is a later problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just change this character real quick so you can see all these things, and I'll do the little grim reveal. We'll just do evil one, doesn't matter. All right, so yeah, so we'll just go ahead and send these to Emma so Emma can see them. You're the Vigor Mortis in seat 1. The player in seat 2 who was framed by the seamstress along with your witch was, of course, the town crier who died. There was a juggler in seat 3 that wasn't sure what to make of their information, but hadn't really confirmed to anybody. A bunch of people lied to them, wasn't important. The clockmaker in seat 4 was, of course, quite important to resolving this because it does point to the seat 9, seat 1 connection. If you kill seat 9, you probably get executed the next day as a Vigor Mortis, or within a day or two, seems likely. The oracle in seat 6, of course, sees your Serenovus, who's died in the night, as evil, but they haven't tracked a Vigor game yet, and they've now got a Dreamer confirmed outsider in you, along with a Serenovus Madness break confirmed mutant in seat 8, so it doesn't look like a Vigor Mortis game. You killed the Snake Charmer, saving yourself a whole lot of trouble on the first night, or on the first night
Mm.
you got to kill. And that Mathematician's going to be a little bit pesky for the rest of the game, sitting there in seat 12, but maybe you'll be able to figure out something.
Yeah.
And the game goes on. Yeah, I think you did pretty well with that. You saw all the pitfalls, you saw the traps. This was a little bit of a lighter one. I felt like I took it pretty heavy on you with the Vortox last week, so I want to give you
No,
something where
no
you can really
worries.
talk through all the specific details.
No, no worries.
I think we're
Uh,
1-1 now, so
yeah, yeah. So yeah, the big pitfall for this scenario is, of course, for the Vigor Mortis is that mathematician.
yeah.
The
You can't
mathematician
kill
is,
seat 9. You can't kill seat 9.
yeah. I mean, it really, really depends on what people are socially reading in town the day before.
Even if the social read on seat 9 is that they're good, in 2 or 3 days down the road, when people might start putting together Vigor worlds, you just got to be careful about it.
Yeah, but like I would. You can do things based off the social reads. If the social reads are good enough on C9 and bad enough on C2, like you can get away with killing C9.
Maybe we need a scale, Emma. Maybe we do like a social read scale, like how good or bad the social reads are on a particular player. It might help a little
Yeah,
bit
and it
here.
also has to, but it's also your read on town's social reads,
Yeah,
which is like a second level social read.
and it's quite difficult to simulate. Legitimately, very difficult to simulate for these
Incredibly difficult to
scenarios.
simulate.
Yeah,
Yeah. C12 is the problem for the Vig in this situation. Like the Vig poison's there. Luckily, the Vig poison didn't proc last night. Or no, it
that's right.
did.
I did.
It did.
Yep,
Yeah.
you're gonna get a
The
number.
math did get a one, which
Hmm.
is a little unfortunate.
Yep, and it's gonna make it pretty difficult to sell the mathematician now as a demon candidate, I think. But you're gonna have
Yeah,
to try.
we're gonna have to try. Like I said, like the benefits of we're as an evil team, we're definitely selling no dashi,
Yeah,
and
I'm glad you got into that space too because I think Nodashi is the only viable demon world to try to sell here. You don't know enough for Vortox, and Fangu doesn't make the clockmaker number wrong.
Fangu doesn't make the clock think wrong, and also risks me being executed as a Fangu jump later.
Yeah,
Um, no dashi just opens up the grim to additional potential demons, which is what you want, especially early. And yeah,
yeah, I think that's right.
and like the math can also just be being poisoned by C3, the no dashi,
Agreed.
because C2 is a minion, and
You're an outsider.
I'm the outsider. Like there's lots of spaces for the mathematician to be socially good and poisoned or evil. Socially good and poisoned or evil in this game. So I'm not. It's not as bad as it might seem at first glance, but there's certainly someone who I am thinking about constantly.
This is a tense mid-game scenario that results in you having to make a tough choice to lose voting and nomination power as well. It's still the best choice, I think, objectively, to kill seat 7. You thought you were going to poison the Oracle. You got even better than that. You got something better out of it than you did than you expected. But the important part of this is now how you go about dealing with the rest of this. Because, for example, if Town decides they want to kill seat 9 now, that Oracle is probably going to have to die.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of different things that you can see. A lot of these interactions, they start to cascade, and they force you into a line of play. They can force you, or you can feel like you're being forced into a line of play where you don't have a ton of options about what to do.
yeah, no. Me personally, I probably would have preferred the Oracle over the Dreamer to be poisoned, but
Yep.
different people might want different things.
Yeah, and storytellers make choices, and you don't always have the agency to decide which person's going to get poisoned. Like you could say to the storyteller, "Hey, I'd really like it if the player in seat 6 is poisoned," or whatever. But ultimately, it's the storyteller's choice. They're going to do what they think is right to balance the game.
Hmm.
So good. Well, we're kind of moving on from S&V now after this.
Yeah, we'll be moving on to Bad Moon Rising next time. We'll be doing at least 2 scenarios. I did want to tell you, Milk, I have gotten a submitted Grim for BMR from a viewer, so we might do a
Ooh,
third Grim analysis scenario. I'll have to sit down and go through it a little bit. I'll send it to you too.
awesome. Yeah,
Um,
we'd love to do that. That's exciting. Yeah, we really want to do those more and more. Please go ahead and send us your situations. I've had a couple of people sort of send me like bits of scenarios and things that I've tried to kind of look at. We really kind of need a pretty like we really need a if we're going to analyze it for the show, we probably need a pretty clear like final grim, like a grim of what you saw or were thinking, and like a pretty good like brief
yeah,
of like what you knew at the time or kind of what was going on
but
at the time. So
I got I got some pretty detailed stuff about a BMR Grim, so I'm thinking
awesome.
maybe I'll send that to you, Milk. We'll maybe try to work that in as a third segment next time,
Yeah, I'd
in
love to
addition
do
to our
that. That sounds like
normal
fun.
our normal Milk and Emma challenges.
That's right. Competition style. Competition style. Uh,
uh, but yeah, no, we're excited to be back next week. We're excited. We'll do probably 2 BMRs, and then we'll
Next
evaluate from
Wednesday.
there.
We'll be doing this live next Wednesday. Always
Exactly,
definitely
live
Wednesday.
on Wednesdays, like we always do, like we're doing right now, live on Wednesdays.
Live on Wednesdays. Definitely Wednesday. All right. Well, so hopefully this has been. I think these are two pretty interesting scenarios, and I think we've shown a little bit of the diversity of Sects and Violets
Yeah.
too. How all these powerful roles kind of bump into each other and make things messy for players. So,
All right. Well, with that, I hope your scenarios aren't grim this week.
see you all later.